He first met her when he was 19, at an age when life still felt endless and light. It was late summer, the kind of evening when the air is warm and the sky glows softly, as if the world is forgiving everything at once. He was sitting on the steps of a small library pretending to read, but really just watching people pass by, wondering who he might become. She stopped in front of him and asked for the time. Her voice was calm, almost shy, and when he looked up, he noticed how her eyes seemed to hold a quiet curiosity, as if she was always searching for something just beyond the moment. He told her the time, they smiled, and somehow that simple exchange turned into an hour-long conversation. They talked about music, about places they wanted to see, about the strange fear of growing up. When she laughed, it felt like something inside him shifted slightly, like a door opening without a sound. They spent only 3 weeks together. Long walks, shared headphones, fingers brushing by accident, then on purpose. And then one evening she said softly, "I'm moving away." He pretended to be brave, told her it was fine, that life was long. They promised to write. They didn't. Years passed. At 27, he met her again in a city cafe, crowded and loud, filled with people who looked busy and important. He was wearing a suit now, carrying responsibilities instead of dreams. His hair was shorter, his smile more careful. She was standing in line, arguing gently with the barista about soy milk. He recognized her instantly. Time had changed her, but not erased her. Her face was more mature, her eyes more tired. But when she turned and saw him, the same quiet surprise lit up her expression. They sat together, talking as if no years had passed, and yet feeling the weight of all those years between every sentence. She told him about failed relationships, about learning to be alone. He spoke about work, about nights spent staring at the ceiling, wondering when life had become so heavy. This time, their love was deeper, slower, more careful. They knew how much it could hurt. They tried. They truly did. But timing is a cruel thing. She wanted to leave again, this time for a life she had built elsewhere. He wanted stability, roots, something that would not disappear. They hugged for a long time on a cold street, her face pressed into his coat, his hands trembling slightly on her back. "I always find you," she whispered. "Yes," he replied, "but never at the right moment." They walked away in opposite directions, both turning back once, then forcing themselves not to turn again. At 42, she came back once more. He was divorced by then, living in a quiet apartment with too much silence and a shelf full of unread books. His heart had learned to protect itself, but it was tired of doing so. She wrote him an email, just one line. "Are you still you?" They met in a park filled with autumn leaves. She had a few strands of gray in her hair now. He had more lines around his eyes, but when they smiled, it felt strangely familiar, like returning to a house you once lived in. This time, there was no rush, no fear of missing out on life. They walked slowly, speaking honestly, admitting regrets they had never shared with anyone else. "I thought I lost you," he said. "I never really left," she answered. "I was just living different chapters." They sat on a bench until the sun began to fade. For the first time, there was no goodbye hanging in the air, only presence. She didn't promise forever, neither did he, but she stayed. Sometimes love doesn't arrive once and stay forever. Sometimes it comes back again and again, shaped by time, waiting until two people are finally ready to stop running. And this time, when she reached for his hand, he didn't hesitate, because some loves are not meant to be rushed. They are meant to be lived, slowly, across years, across lives.